me a quick check 1 2 1 2.
Check 1 2 3 4. How are we doing? I'm dropping tools. Does that help you? We have Randon's 72 C10. I've taken over after Little T finished the intake and a few other changes on it. Taken over on the wiring. Just going through everything that was wired before with the engine harness and everything under the dash. Just cleaning everything up, eliminating a lot of extra wiring that was left in it that is not needed. So yeah, sometimes it's just easier to back everything out, start over. And that's basically what we did. So about 90% of this came out from underneath the dash. So just getting rid of that bulk, you know, just all these extra wires that were just bundled, just makes it so much easier for the next person, if there's any issues, to repair or address anything or add anything if they need it. Like, all that was just taped and shoved in the corner, like. So these are the leads and the grounds from the AC unit. You know, you can see the length that I took out of them, because I just basically cut that out of it, reconnected them, shortened them, because we don't need 3 extra feet underneath the dash. Right now I'm going through the fan control relays and just cleaning them up, their wiring, and reconnecting to what I ran from inside out. So my leads from the computer will go to the relays, which will trigger them to turn them on, to then feed the power to the cooling fans through the relays.
All right, so this is Troy's Chevelle. It's a 67 Chevelle. Came in with a big block, had a turbo 400. We were originally just doing ride tach and brakes, and it had a overheating issue. So jumping into the overheating issue, it had some bad head gaskets, had the wrong setup for the radiator, fan setup was terrible. So it's naturally snowballed. So now it's air conditioning, it's ride tach, it's Wilwood brakes. Now it's an LSX 454, Tremec T56. Naturally, we're doing our stainless exhaust. So I'm currently just in the design phase of building the exhaust. So it's mark your lines, take them over the bandsaw, cut them, fit them, tack them together. There's a lot of, you're in a shop, right? Everything's dangerous. This machine, take your fingers right off. That machine, suck your fingers right in. It's kind of the dangers that we deal with, you know? So now that we've got it cut, it's not 100% flat, right? So because of the way the style of welding that we're doing, so we're gonna butt weld this to another piece of pipe, right? So this is gonna butt weld to there. Well, it's not completely flat, so we're gonna take it over here to the 20-inch sander, and we're gonna flatten those out, and then we'll take the edges off, and then we'll fit it up in there and see if it's what we want. So you can usually tell when they get flat. So obviously when you're grinding this thing, if you don't hold it flat, you can get it kind of sideways in there, but you can usually tell when it's flat when you can see the cut marks are all the way. So I don't know if you can see that on camera, but everything here is real smooth. So that's all smooth here, it's all smooth here. So our saw marks are all gone. So now this should be just a real nice flat surface for our other tube to stick on and tack it together. I've seen a guy with this machine, not my machine in particular, but like taking a flat piece of aluminum or steel or whatever, right? And there's a tiny little gap right here. So it's like a 1/4-inch gap between the wheel and the table. So that little gap right there, grinding on here, and they'll get their fingers on top here, and then all of a sudden this plate will grab the wheel, it'll flip up this direction. Well, when it flips up, guess where your fingers are going? right into that right there. And that dude right there, he doesn't care about your fingers. So, oh, we leave that thing running because it takes so much energy. It's a 3-phase machine, but it takes so much energy to get it going. Plus, every start and stop, if you're to start and stop that thing every time, it's just easier to leave it running, and everybody kind of knows that it's running, so don't stick your damn fingers in it. I think that for me, the exhaust fabrication and the way that the exhaust looks plus the way that it sounds is just as important as your paint or your wheels, because a terrible sounding exhaust system on a car that looks as cool as you can make it can bring down the cool points, you know. So if it's just got this terrible farty sound, then you're like, well, is it a boat or a car? It can ruin the coolness of the hot rod. So for me, it's either going to be 2.5 or 3 inch stainless, just depending on what power level we're doing. This one's getting 3 inch. I usually almost always do an X pipe. So X pipes to me are super important. For one, they're free horsepower. So the scavenging effect that you get from an X pipe is good for, I think it's like 30 foot-pounds, something like that. But it changes the tone, so you get this really cool, crisp, mildly exotic tone. Plus, where I put my mufflers are really never under the car. I always put them as far back in the system as I possibly can. The other thing that I see a lot of happening lately with custom builds and everything, and it's just not how I do it, putting the X pipes in the back or like midship. The purpose for an X pipe is the scavenging effect, and you lose that scavenging effect if you lose the heat. If you're taking the X pipe and you're putting it in the back, you no longer have all that superheated exhaust back here. Yeah, it's plenty hot back there, but the old guys used to do it. They used to do a crayon test. So you'd put a crayon on the pipe, and then when it would melt the crayon, you know it was hot enough. When it wouldn't melt the crayon, then it's not hot enough. And that's where you'd place your X pipe. You get the good sound, but also you get the performance aspects of that as well. That's kind of my reasoning. I learned from some old guys that knew what they were doing, and I think it's a good time. I don't know, I guess you can consider it kind of artwork, right? So you're cutting these little pieces and fitting them up there and rotate it just a little bit. And if you rotate it too much, well, crap, now this side's off like 6 miles. So it's a fine little dance that you have to do with all these, because I don't have a mandrel bender, you know. We call this a mandrel bend. It doesn't squish, it doesn't change the diameter. And I don't have the 500 grand it takes to buy one of these, so I buy them, and they're made here in the US. So we'll just keep doing it this way until I can afford to buy a mandrel bender, and then I'll CNC design my exhaust systems, I guess, and we'll bend them and install them that way. But for now, this is how we're going to do it. Not a big glove guy. I don't like to wear gloves because I can't feel anything. The unfortunate side is it's like, obviously everything's hot. So I just kind of have to dance around that. So yes, it's hot, but I dance around it. It's obviously all still hot, but we can get the gist of where it needs to go, kind of. So the unfortunate part about this exhaust setup here is that these headers, they're not, I mean, they're Speed Engineering headers. Like they work just fine. So these are what a $400, $450 set of headers versus a $1,400, $1,500 set of headers. And the unfortunate part about that is, so you've got this header is about 1 inch higher than the driver's side header. So you have to kind of play that in the lead pipes into the X pipe. So these two here, because of this style header, and even some more expensive headers, they're still not even. But because these are uneven, you have to play. These two tubes are different, which drives all of us nuts, but it kind of is just part of the deal, right? So I try to make the sides look as similar as they possibly can, but they're never going to be 100% symmetrical because of this V-band flange is literally like 3.5, 4 inches behind this V-band flange. So, and then, like I said, the 1 inch difference in the heights is something that we have to deal with too. That being said, I've never seen a pair of $1,400 headers versus a $400 set of headers make more power. So, if that makes sense, this is a inch and 7/8. So if you were to do another set of inch and 7/8 headers in some other brand that's going to have these even, you're not going to make any more power. The only advantage you'll get is maybe these are a little closer together. Does it matter? I mean, who's going to come up to next to the car and look that this is a great driver, right? So it's not Rick's GMC. So for in this instance, this is going to work awesome. It's going to make great power, and we just got to get through this little bit of wonkiness here, and then everything else from here on out should be pretty symmetrical.
Hola, soy Bernie, Big Ten Janitor. Hoy vamos a limpiar el baño. Vamos a empezar con la basura. Y luego vamos a limpiar el lavabo. No me tocaba limpiar hoy, pero limpiamos el baño hoy. Y así limpias el baño en Big Ten Garage.
So Aggie's truck, we're running now. Just working out, waiting on a couple little things like just a little spacer to pick up the air filter just a little bit. But other than that, yeah, she runs now. We're gonna put the bed on soon and finish up the just the tail light wiring. Other than that, all the wiring is already done. Hoses are all made. Yeah, she's even the headers are already starting to get a little tan in them from being warmed up. But yeah. So right here we did the Hydro Boost lines and the brake lines. It's one of those things that you stare at it forever and try to make it all work out well. Like this one, they start off parallel in certain different directions and then they go on a twist and go into an equilateral triangle as they make their turns down under the frame, and then they all turn individually and come into a straight line right inside the frame rail. Can't really hardly see it, but that's kind of the deal. But if you do go looking for it, it all looks good. Even Jordan made us 3D printed spacers to hold everything right where we need them to be, and then he made me some for the little brake lines too. But that's the other thing is, like, when you're doing these lines, you have to kind of make them look like they flow well together, even though you got two different sizes. Still try to keep the same shape and orientation. But a lot of staring, a lot of oopses, and then a lot of cheater bends. You find the scrap pieces of steel, pieces that didn't work out, and do your little complicated goofy bends just to see if you can pull it off in the space that you're able to work out of. So gotta keep it tight. Yeah, like I said, next we just got to get the bed on. And I think Bernie did all the tailgate latches on that already. And then everything's gonna have to go off to get painted. Little touch-ups on the doors, because yeah, obviously the doors got sections, and we put door handles back in it because they were French smooth before. But yeah, it's almost done. Need some paint, a couple little things. Interior, but that's easy stuff. It's gonna get custom carpet, but it'll be pretty neat when it's all done. Gonna happy to have it back to him. Clear another spot out of the shop before the move. One less thing to move.
Yeah, there's Ian over there. He's hiding. Oh, there he is. Got him. All right, so this is George Ramirez's truck. It's a 55 Viking front end pickup truck. We call it a Viking front end because the front end's bigger. It's off of a 1.5 ton truck. Actually, the whole truck was a 1.5 ton truck. We have some plans for it. Obviously, you can see that things aren't quite right. And if you look at it from the side of the front, you can see that it kind of looks like a bulldog. It's real wide. With that, I mean, it's got a LS3 Magnuson 2300. It actually has a 4L75, something, I think, transmission in it. Maybe it's a 4L65 even. I think eventually it'll go to a 4L80. We did a Matson's custom radiator core support setup that's all aluminum. Came out super cool. Ian is getting after all the sheet metal, and he's got some plans that should be real cool. So you can obviously see that the wheel sits real funny in the wheel well. So we've made a die for the Pullmax. So we're actually going to take this wheel well arch and we're going to move this wheel well arch forward, reshape all of this, and then this will swoop down and match here. So one of the things that we're doing. So in order to achieve that, obviously there's a radius here, there's a radius here, there's this big dude here. So just made a simple die to run through. Well, I say a simple die. We made up 3 dies, I think it is, for the Pullmax to be able to run through and create this shape for us. I wish it was that easy, but obviously there's way more steps involved with that. So one of the things that we're doing, I think we're going to end up sending the wheels out because the wheels were made a little premature in my opinion. They were built for just a regular fender, and obviously now that we have the Viking front end, we're gonna send the wheels back to Budnick, have them cut the hoops out, move the wheels out 1.5 inches or so. We still want to be able to turn it when it's low, but you know, just to kind of bring that wheel out and make it look a little more presentable, like it's not like it's trying to suck its cheeks in. Some of the other little things that we've done. So the truck obviously is a big rounded truck, right? So who wants square lines on a rounded truck? So you have rounded door corners. We did some custom door handles. Obviously filled in the fuel filler. Did some rust repair already. Just gonna touch on some of the bigger things that we're doing. The bed, it'll be hard to notice, I think, when it's all done, but the bed is actually 4 inches wider than a stock bed would have been. Reason being is obviously we've got this big bulgy bulldog front end, and we wanted to match the rear fenders to match the front fenders. So in order to achieve that, instead of cutting these fenders and extending the fenders, we went ahead and just took the bed sides and pushed them out 2 inches either side. So now we've achieved this it's the same bulge front to back. There again, we're gonna have to, the rear wheels are pulled in too far, so new axle it is. That's an easy fix, right? The header panel here, we're just making a header panel, and we're probably just gonna end up making a tailgate, honestly, because obviously it is 4 inches wider. There's really nothing. We could cut up some stock header panels, we could cut up a stock tailgate and make 2, but we have the ability to make them, so let's just make them. You can see the bed structure is all sort of started. It's gonna obviously have a lift in it. He's got the rear bed mounts are ready to go. We've lifted the fenders. So the fenders have been lifted I think it's 2 inches. So they're lifted up into there. We've got some other real cool things we're gonna do. We've got some there's actually really, so remember I was saying earlier about all the square stuff on the cab. So we're getting rid of square stuff. So this is actually going to be a cool 2-inch radius right here. So this will turn in, and then the front rail will do the same. So it'll have that 2-inch radius as well. So all this will be rounded. And then the header panel on these trucks, what drives me crazy is the back of the cab is not flat, right? So it has a nice little arch to it. So we're gonna build or roll a tube that follows that arch for the front of the header panel. So the top bar will have that radius to it that'll match that back of the cab, but then the actual header panel itself will be flat. So if that makes sense. We'll obviously build some inner fenders for it, but short of, I mean, obviously it's a lot of little modifications. There's going to be custom tail lights and stuff, and you'll kind of see that evolve as we keep going through it. There's some stuff that we've done in the cab, like the AC vents and moving knobs around. Ian actually custom made a bunch of billet knobs in there so that it all matches the radio knobs. So all of these knobs here, he made all those to make them match just these radio knobs here. So I think it worked out pretty good. Oh, look at that. I stuck to the truck. But yeah, he made the little doghouse there. Kind of like a turtle, but it's really cool. Yeah, lots of little things. Keep watching for it. Our current building's 6,000 square feet. We are busting at the seams. It's such a cool problem to have. So we started looking for buildings. Found a building, and it's 50 yards that way. So this shop is this is a giant step. So my shops have grown. So my first shop was 2,000 feet. My second shop was 4,000 feet. Third shop's obviously 6,000 feet. This shop now is 14,000 feet. So the size is about as big as I want to get, really. We need to have space for the builds that we have. So everything is just stacked on top of each other, and it's hard to juggle all your projects because you have so much going on that, when you take apart a truck, one truck becomes 2.5, if not 3 trucks, because you've got crap strewn apart everywhere. So it's such a pain when you have a project that you're trying to work on, and then I'm working on this one, but I got to stop on this one for a minute. So then I have to I have to go in and grab another truck and bring it in or move everything out. And so this shop is hopefully going to be able to make it where we don't have that situation. So lots going on in here. There's obviously a lot of construction going on. So they've stripped the carpet. They're in the midst of, it looks like, pulling up carpet glue right now. And so there's a giant ledge right here in the floor. They're going to grind all the concrete, and then they're just going to not stain it, but seal it for us. So it'll be kind of like a semi-gloss shine in here. And then all the walls are going to go some sort of gray that my wife's picked out. And then it should be really cool because my wife's got all kinds of cool plans. Like there's going to be a big wrap on the wall here that's got a bunch of our pictures on it. Some project stuff, some family stuff, but then our logo will be in the middle. We have a conference room now. So I would love to put a truck in here. That would be my ultimate, like, hex lights up here coming down, and like Rick's green and white truck in here. The GMC would just be so cool. Close it off and just be an art piece. That truck's gonna get driven though. So, and there's no way to get in here with that. So, this is gonna be like a little, like a seating lobby kind of area. And yeah, I don't know, plans may change. It's my wife. She changes ideas constantly, and she always comes up with good ones. So there's 6 offices in here. So we're gonna have some indoor parts storage, another office here, another office back here, and then I think this down here is my office, I think. So they kind of join. It's a weird deal. There's a sliding glass door between the 2 offices. So I'm sure these will never be closed, but we'll see what this area is going to turn into. I don't know. it'll start taking shape obviously when we start moving in. I think we've got about a month before we can actually start moving in. So I come over here all the time just because I'm so excited for the next chapter for Big Ten Garage. It scares the living daylights out of me to move into this place because it is so big. But part of the deal, right? So no risk it, no biscuit. So we're gonna risk it, and we're gonna give it the shot. So the building is 14,080 square feet. The shop space is 12,000 feet. So the rest of it's obviously office. So another office here, IT room here, and then there's an actual kitchen for you know, hanging out, doing your stuff, doing kitchen-y things. And then the last office down here, I think this is Ian's office. I'm pretty sure this is Ian's office. Put him down here in the hole, and I'll show you out here why. So this would be the reason why. So when you open this door, so you have Ian's office here, and then you come right out into Fab. So everything on the side of this pole right here, to that wall, to this wall, and then down the middle of those pallet racks, all of this is all Fab. So this will be all machines. Any sort of fabrication goes on this side of the shop. So we don't have that in our current shop, where obviously you can see, you've seen in the past videos, Fab is small and it's all stacked on top of each other, and you have finished work going on right next to Fab. So we're trying to split that up. Not that we've ever had any incidences, but we want to make those incidences not possible. You know what I mean? Cross contaminations, all that stuff. So that's the hope anyway. So we'll have I don't know if you can see the column that's there on the wall, next to those boxes, but from that column out and then back to the door, that'll all be dirty tear down. So a new project comes in the shop, we're gonna tear it all down over there. All the dirty stuff stays in that corner. And then it'll obviously, the natural progression from that would be dirty tear down to Fab, then to pre-assembly and assembly, and then wiring. So, and somewhere in the middle, paint. I haven't quite figured out everything over here yet, but I think I have an idea. So two pallet racks down here, they're gonna shuffle to the other side. We're gonna have a 4-post rack on that side. We'll have another 2-post over here, and then 4 2-posts over here. And then another 2-post down there for dirty tear down. But all the pallet racking in the middle out there is gonna get moved to the sides, and then we're probably not gonna end up using all of it. So whatever we don't use, we'll just take it apart and stick it outside. But I'm excited for the next phase. They're in the middle of obviously putting in new insulation, so some of the insulation was falling off. And then I went ahead and bought 20 F30 high bay LED lights. So we're gonna get rid of the metal halide lights. We're gonna go to 30 high bay lights. They've replaced some of the swamp coolers. They're resealing some of the roof, and I have to do air lines. And I'm hoping to really prep this place really well before we start moving stuff in here, because then that makes just moving the stuff in here so much faster. Nothing will really happen to the floors, obviously, other than getting cleaned up. But yeah, I can't wait. So what's going to be really cool is come like September, maybe late September, when we have our first meetup here. So have a big invite, have a cookout, and have everybody out here to check out the place and see how everybody likes it. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's going to be super cool. And be on the lookout too, because once these pallet racks are moved, there might be some shenanigans going on in here. We'll post it for sure. Yeah. But other than that, thanks for checking out the shop. Thanks for the support, and come by and check it out. We're here.